What is up, everybody? I'm back for another shoutcast here. This time actually doing it live on stream, as well as going to be putting this up on YouTube. So if you're watching this on YouTube later, do know that I do these live as well. If you want to check me out at twitch.tv/ColbyCheese. But anyways, let's get started here. This is a solo queue game that I just started up from my friends list. Looks like XX Faxon is going to be playing in the jungle as Udyr. One of the junglers that I've been picking up lately seems to do really well, and so I'm curious to know how he does on his jungle Udyr. We're also going to be seeing Kenny KTH, another guy that I am familiar with. And so he's going to be doing the top lane Nidalee. Looks like there will be a little bit of an engage here. They don't necessarily have what looks like the best engaged team, and they are already spotted by that Nidalee trap. So they will just be backing off here. Not going to be anything successful coming out of that one. And so that's one good thing about having a Nidalee on your team in those early games is she levels up that trap first, places it in that bush where you will be seeing an invade happen, and then boom, that's going to be thwarted for the most part. Usually when people get spotted like that, they're going to be a little bit afraid of sticking around, and so they'll just back off. And they have a decent level 1 fighting team here. It's not the best, but they do have the slow from Nunu if he decides to take his snowball first. So we could see something happen from that if they're not careful. Either way, it looks like a pretty standard start. They're going to be grabbing these double golems on the bottom with Vayne. This is going to be a really scary comp, by the way, of Vayne and Nunu. And very interesting stat that I just learned about when I was looking at a website earlier, I think it was yesterday, was that the #1 pentakill champion is Vayne. AD carries get 3 times the pentakills as any other champion, and Vayne gets like twice the pentakills as any other AD carry. So fun fact there. Actually, Katarina gets, oh my god, did you see that damage coming in onto Vayne? That level 1 volley and the crit into another auto attack, taking down Vayne so low. She's gonna have to be so careful. You know, the funny thing, this is actually not a ranked game. I just realized looks like a normal because we've got 2 Nunus. But I'm gonna go ahead and shoutcast it anyways. It looks like it should be a fun match to watch. There are some pretty good people in here, so it's definitely not like a super low normal match, but whatever, something new, something I haven't done in a while. You can't really tell whenever you're observing people's games what it's going to be. You don't know if it's going to be an ARAM or ranked or a normal or what it is. So in any case, we've got a Vlad up top against a Wukong, so we'll have to see how that plays out. Wukong is pretty strong in the top lane. He actually does really well against some other bruisers, so I'm curious how he does actually against Vlad. And there's the early game coming in, a flash into the stun, exhaust being used, but this Nunu will be going down. First blood going to the Udyr, and a flash being used by Ashe to make her way out of there. Is going to have to play very safe now with 3 of the enemies. But up top lane, already an ignite being used by that Wukong, thinking that he could go for the kill. Was not the case though. Dragon Slayer is going to be fine here as long as he doesn't get in too close to the Wukong, but it looks like he is going to make the mistake of just staying a little bit too long, and a flash being used by Wukong to try and make some work happen there, but he was in the pool, so it was a little bit of a premature flash, and then Vlad just uses his flash to make his escape. He is sticking around for just a little bit longer. It looks like he needs to be careful as he can get dove here. And let's just take a look at his cooldown on his Sanguine pull. It's still got 3 seconds left. He needs to just get that pull back up so that if Wukong does dive him, he will be able to use that pull for the bait. On the other hand, though, if this lane does push back out, I do fear for his safety because that Wukong right now is just really strong. And that's one of the big benefits of playing Wukong, is that you really have the benefit of being able to be really aggressive. It's kind of funny, I've played Wukong as a support, and it's really not that big of a troll. It's like playing an aggressive support is really all it is. He can get in there and he can poke very easily actually and make his way back if they try and return damage to Wukong. He just pops his little clone and runs back to safety, no problem. So really interesting situation. I recommend trying it out for fun if you guys are playing normal and are looking for something outside of the normal Soraka and Sona meta and that sort of thing. I am seeing a lot more aggressive supports playing these days, especially with Blitzcrank, a lot of times with Nunu. Of course, Nunu just helps out the carry so much. He is a so strong support, especially going into the late game. And I see that happening more often. People starting to pick up more of these late game carries, or the ones that can just really get that aggression going off early on in the game. Now Dragon Slayer looking like he's going to be in big trouble as Malphite does come in from the bush, doing that gank. Will it be enough? No, he don't. He's not going to be able to output enough damage, especially not with Wukong in a close proximity to really make anything happen. Once he gets level 6, it's going to be a little bit more dangerous for him, as long as he can do his ultimate without running into a pool. On the bottom lane here, we are still sitting at only 1 kill, so it's going to be curious to see if they can keep their lead up there. And you know, Vayne right now taking a big amount of damage from Ashe. He's not going to be very strong until a little bit later in the game. That is the thing about Vayne. She, yes, is really just super hyper carry right now. However, in the early game, they have balanced it out so that she's not going to be able to dominate all the way through. She does have to get those items built up, or she's just going to be a lot weaker than most of the other carriers. And now she's so very low. All it would have taken there is a nice crit. Ashe, unfortunately, was not able to make that happen, so she did not get the kill there on the Vayne, but Vayne is forced to go back. So a little bit of free farm time for Ashe here, and as well some missed creeps for Vayne. Let's take a look at the farm. 27 to 36. She is falling behind by 10 creeps at only 6 minutes. I'm curious if that gap will widen, or as she begins to get some items and level up some more, if she'll be able to get out of that situation. Now, another cool thing here is that Kenny is actually in mid lane as Nidalee. You know, earlier in the game I had said that Nidalee was going to go top, as I did expect Vlad to be middle, but that was not the case. And I've seen Hotshot GG actually play Nidalee mid in a tournament like way back months ago, and did really well as that. So against Anivia, really mobile champions actually do very well. That's why you see champions like Fizz are like 100% counter to Anivia. Like my grandma can probably beat Anivia if she was playing Fizz, if she's never really even played this game before. That's just how easy it is to beat an Anivia with champions such as that. So with Nidalee's ability to pounce around very quickly, it's a little bit easier for her to kind of get in and out and poke down Anivia. So we'll kind of just have to see if that actually does play out really well for them or not. If you notice right now, though, a little bit of action happening on the bottom lane. That was actually a really nice stun by Vayne. It didn't look like it was going to really stun Ashe. It pushed her right kind of against the corner there, though, and was able to do a little bit of extra damage from that. But on the other hand, this Vayne still just not strong enough, as the exhaust does go down, though. That was a great play by the Nunu. However, it's going to be a trade of kills there, and now it's going to be Nunu versus Nunu with Rekineth. Just too low HP to really trade this one off. And now one last snowball. No more mana left, though, so Seok is going to have to back out of that one. He won't be getting the kill there, unfortunately for him, and so no can do. But again, I wanted to look at the farm here. Let's see, 54 to 51. They are actually quite even here in the mid lane, both having that blue buff, so really just a farm fest. And now Rekineth is deciding to stick around. Maybe just a big mistake on his part. All it's going to take is, man, just one more auto attack is all it would have taken. That was so close, and I know he was feeling the pressure from that one. I mean, he was a little bit too greedy, trying to stick in there for a little too long to get that farm, and it almost really just shut him down too bad. Faxi coming in to put a little bit of pressure on the Seok, wanting to push him out of the lane if possible, and just gonna make it a little bit easier for bottom lane to get some free farm until that Nunu gets back with full HP. Dragon Slayer having a lot of trouble up top lane with that Wukong, and now looks like Young Star with his ultimate able to do big deeps to this Ashe. And that's just, you know, once you get level 6 on Vayne, a lot of options really open up for you to do a lot of work, and that stun just not happening. But one last auto attack will pick up the kill onto the Ashe. Looks like Nunu on the run as well. Will the Vayne be able to get the kill? Doesn't look like it, but up top, this Wukong going in for the kill onto the Vladimir. Yes, he will grab it with the assistance of his Ignite. So Wukong really just demolishing all over this Vlad's face. Really good top lane champion, very underplayed as well. Just kind of depends on the matchup as well, so you're going to have to kind of play that out. I do like Wukong. He's a very interesting champion. I don't exactly play him a lot, but it's kind of cool to see him being played. And man, these spears, look at that. How much damage did that do? It looks like Hobizzle here is really, really low. Gonna have to be careful. Does he have his egg form out? That's what I'm curious about. He does still have his egg up, so he can probably take another spear and be safe as long as he's clear to his turret. And there it is. He does get eggs, so now he's gonna have to be very, very safe. And I don't know, he could actually die there. That was a really good play by Kenny, taking him down with a spear. I think that the Anivia was a little bit too confident in the fact that his egg was there and was hoping for a little bit of a bait from his jungle, but Faxon actually stopped that from happening, so it actually played out against him. And at least that's my thoughts. I don't know why else he would be kind of giving Kenny those free shots onto him like that. So really, really bad. Having to use Malphite's ultimate, and Anivia went down, also losing that egg. So gonna give mid a little bit of you know, free reign for a little while until that egg comes back up. Now this bottom lane, I'm going to have to worry about Ashe as the game goes on, because if Vayne is able to stay up in farm, looks like she's actually beating Ashe now in farm, it's just going to get worse and worse for Ashe, and it's going to have to come down to some really good plays with those arrows. Now she is taking a little bit of extra damage, and poke, here comes, oh man, she's going for the ultimates, 2 Nunu ults, man, Empire mode on there, and looks like the Vayne will fall now to the snowball, and Rickwin is going to fall as well. Just can't get out of that, way too many slows, the double slow lane here. If they decide to engage on you, you better have some way to disengage, because they are just going to keep you from moving very fast at all, and that's exactly what we saw there. Now middle lane getting a little bit of pressure on it, but Kenny is not able to pursue with the wall from Hobizzle. So Faxon in here wants to take out this Nunu's oracles. He has no more mana to throw out snowballs, but one is enough, as that is one of the nastiest slows in the game. In fact, how much is that? Looks like it's 50%, so it's not as nasty as something like Nasus, for example, but it lasts long enough that it actually just, it really feels like it's worse than a Nasus, at least in the long run. So here we go. Ashe now going to be jumped onto by Kenny. Kenny knows that if he needs to, he can just jump right over that wall to escape. So he's a little bit in trouble there with the Wukong kind of splitting him off. He wasn't expecting that Wukong to come in there from behind, and now it's going to be 2 kills. Purple team really going to come out ahead of this one, doing a really good job, and now they're just pushing them out of the way so that they can get a nice easy dragon. They're not going to be able to chase for much longer there. They do take out the ward with the oracles. They have 2 on their team actually right now, so that's really a lot of pressure and a lot of control that purple team's going to have if they continue on with this. So they're going to need to be very careful, talking about blue team right now, that they don't lose too much of a lead. Once this dragon goes down, that was funny, they actually reset that on accident. But yes, they are going to have to be very, very careful that they don't let purple team get too much of a lead here. They are going to try and come in and do what they are able to do to stop this. I really doubt they're going to be able to stop the dragon from happening, and they need to be careful. Does Ashe have her ulti up? She does. So if she decided to actually engage on that, they might have been in big trouble. But with the rest of blue team coming in, that could have been a bad play, as yes, they may have gotten a kill, but they might have actually lost more in return. But here it is. There's the engaged Faxon coming in, trying to do some work, gonna flash over the wall to keep himself safe, as here comes the rest of the purple team to kind of clean that up. Spear is gonna miss Hobizzle, so no damage coming in on that one. Now he's just gonna wait for the cooldown so that he can throw one more onto that Nunu, and it will be juked. Hobizzle getting a kill onto Faxon down here though, and now they are going to be on the run. Looks like Vayne is going to be in big trouble. Don't think she's going to make it out of there, as that wall just holds her back, but I don't know. I guess that it was not as much damage as I was thinking. This Vayne has nowhere to go. She's going to die eventually. Oh man, if she actually goes for the kill on the sail, can she get in there in time? But she will die to Ashe before that is a reality. So that actually would have been hilarious if she was able to take out the oracles just from her running away. So far, a pretty crazy game so far, or so back and forth between the teams. Of course, purple is beginning to kind of pull ahead, as they did grab that dragon and a nice couple of fights there in that area prior to that. Blue is going to be landing right on top of Nidalee, so she can continue to throw out those spears constantly and just poke, poke, poke. Hopefully they will be able to grab a turret soon. Of course, no turrets being taken for either side of the map, and it looks like top lane is the lowest right now between the 6 that are up. And this one here on bottom is getting there as well. We'll see which one goes down first, though. I'm not quite sure. With the amount of pressure that Wukong is putting on top, I feel like he's going to be taking out the top lane first unless Faction comes in and puts a little bit more pressure on that top. But I feel like he's going to be focusing a lot of his efforts on the middle and the bottom lanes. As a jungler, you can't really be all places at all times, and that's it's unfortunate. And a lot of times, if your lane is doing bad, it's not always the most beneficial thing to go up and try and help them out, because it's somewhat better to actually just get 1 or 2 lanes really fed than to help one lane just stay kind of in the game. And at least that's my philosophy as a jungler. But here on bottom lane, a little bit of engage is happening. Nunu ult going to help pick that up, and Vayne does shut down the Ashe. Requinas now going to be in big trouble as Vayne did fall as well. But on the top lane, more action happened as Wukong does get ganked. Going to be using his ultimate to try and turn around some damage onto that and see if he can actually take a kill for himself, as it was very close, but no, Dragon Slayer is able to pick it up, and that was a good job from Faction actually going up there to help, and that is exactly what the Vladimir needed. Vladimir now high enough level that he can use his Qs to keep himself healed up, and he's going to start being a little bit more of a problem for that Wukong. Yosok is now in big trouble. If he stays around too much longer, will be destroyed by that spear. Oracle's going to be lost, though, in that trade. Nidalee shuts down the Nidalee from that spear, and Hobizzle here in the middle lane will actually be taking out a kill. So a lot of action happened all over the map. Hard to actually keep track of what's going on right now. But either way, purple team continues to push ahead, and now going to be putting pressure onto that middle turret. And I think it might actually go down here. Kenny doesn't have a lot of options for defending that, especially against this tanky Malphite. And yes, he just easily destroys that with no fear of being stopped by Kenny. Alright, so the dragon, I'm not sure what the timer is up on that. I think it still has a couple of minutes before it will be up, but they are going to go ahead and ward for it, as soon enough they are going to be seeing another engage happen in that area. Now with the blue buff up, let's see if Kenny is going to be actually trying to go for a steal onto that, placing down his trap to just get vision to see if it is actually still there. 2 oracles here still on this team, even though Nunu just lost his oracles and the Malphite has one. He still wants to pick up a second. There's the arrow. What a great arrow onto Star. Is going to just destroy him before he has a chance to do anything. Now Faction in a little bit of trouble as well, kind of stuck in between 4 of purple team, and will just be destroyed without once again without being able to do anything. So much slow and so much kite from purple team as they again continue to pull a little bit ahead in every single little engagement that happens. Blue team's gonna really need to be careful and start to kind of band together and make some better decisions, or they're just gonna have a really hard time coming back from this one. So far, from what I can tell though, it looks like all purple team has to do is continue fighting out these little skirmishes, and if blue team continues to make these mistakes, then they're going to overall be in a good spot. And looks like Ignite is going to take down Seok, and Kenny now really low, but could he take out this Ashe? All he needs is one nice little pounce to finish him off, but that slow could be enough to clean him up. Kenny just needs one more auto attack before he falls, but luckily he uses those bushes to his advantage. He will pounce out of there. Now mid lane going to be pressured by this Wukong, will be scared away though now with Faction running in as Udyr. Let's go back down to the bottom lane and see if anything is happening over here, as it looks like Kenny is trying to keep himself healed up and possibly make some plays, but does need to be careful. He's spotted by that ward. Here comes Hobizzle trying to toss out a Q, as he was just, he wasn't exactly sure where Kenny was going to go ahead and go for the prediction. Obviously not going to land that one here. Now Kenny using his leap to jump over the walls here, looking for some kind of action. Let's see if he can actually kill this Ashe. It's going to be very hard for him to do so though. Ashe has no mana left, so no volleys for her. Kenny's not going to be able to catch her though, as that turret is not something he's going to want to dive, especially at low HP. But if the spear was able to land, I think that could have been pretty sick. Alright, so from what I can tell right now, it's going to be really not very much longer until this Vayne is able to finish off this bottom turret. So let's see if she can finish that off before Ashe gets back to the lane. She's going to have to pressure these creeps down as fast as possible. Looks like Ashe actually will get back there in time, so I don't know if that's actually going to be possible. And I think a snowball actually just landed on a creep rather than the enemy Nunu, so they weren't able to put the pressure they wanted onto him. Alright, Ashe is now back into the lane, so she will be able to keep her turret alive a little bit longer. Now that it is about that 20-minute mark, they do really want to take this bottom turret so that they can begin focusing on team fights and potentially going into that Baron fight in the next 4 minutes or so. Usually around that 23 to 24 mark is when you should start really warding up the Baron and being cautious that the enemy team might actually take it, as that's the time when you're excuse me, I'm just hiccuping all the time here. That's usually the time when you're high enough level and strong enough to really take it safely. Stars is going to be playing it safe here, kind of staying in the back, letting Requinus stay in the front there with his snowballs, and he will come in with his ultimate and Q if he sees necessary. Kenny going to throw out poke where he can, not actually landing the spear though, so no help from that point. A lot of people down here on the bottom lane, so oh man, a flash being used by Stars, not gonna dodge that ulti, will be destroyed here, completely taken down. Ashe making big plays with that arrow. Now Requiem is gonna fall as well to Hope Bizzle, and that is just too bad. Purple team gonna pick that up and now head right there to the dragon, picking up the second one, I believe, of the game, possibly the third, I cannot remember. And so, man, those arrows, that's kind of why people have been playing Ashe now again these days, as they just remember, like, holy crap, you land one really good arrow with Ashe and you're just going to win the game. Faxon now making a huge mistake of going up there to try and stop that dragon, just going to give them even more kills. That Ashe getting really fed at 6 now, and going to have that BF sword very, very soon as well. Kenny now going to do what he can to defend this turret, and a spear going to land and kill that Nunu. So sick right at the very edge, just making that maximum damage potential pop out from that. As if you have noticed, he is going for that AP Nidalee, which you don't see very often these days. Most people going for the bruiser top Nidalee build, and I really enjoy seeing an AP Nidalee, as those spears can just be devastating in a game, especially when you have those standoffs at the middle turret and those spears just come in from behind the bush, boom 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 constantly. So I'm actually really curious to see if they can make some plays once they all group up as a team and she starts tossing out those spears. As it stands right now though, with Ashe landing these great arrows, that is really putting them in a bad position. So if they can stop getting caught by those Ashe arrows and possibly just stay grouped up as a team and really go for it, I think they might have a chance of doing really well. It's just so far up until now, it's been these small skirmishes where Purple team has always been coming out on top for one reason or another. Alright, so with Kisaru grabbing his red buff, he should be strong enough to really lock down any target that he decides to jump onto, which more than likely will be that Vayne. They've got so many options for slowing her attack speed, with both the Nunu putting the slow on her, as well as Malphite using his E to slow down the attack speed, which, how much does it slow it down by the way? It does a attack speed reduction for 4 seconds. That is such a huge amount. Whenever you're a carry, 50% is so terrible to be slowed down by. Now an exhaust gonna go down. Young starts taking huge damage from this Ashe. Will he be able to stay alive using his stealth to make it out? And that bait was good, as he was able to get the kill onto that Ashe, keeping Seok on the run, as he knows that he cannot do any damage now to Stars. Faxon is gonna help clean that up, stun him down while Kenny picks up the kill, and this could be a nice turnaround. Blue team now still a little bit behind, but starting to kind of make their momentum head in their favor here. They could be stealing this blue buff as well. That's going to take it away from Hope Bizzle, and a bird without the blue buff is really hard to really keep her damage up. So as you notice, it looks like Anivia is out of mana at this point. Kenny will be shut down though with the last amount of mana that Hope Bizzle was able to conjure up, and that is just sick damage. Great play by Hope Bizzle there, and they aren't going to be able to make much else happen here. Placing down the ward there, I'm not sure quite what for, possibly just to keep some vision there for whatever bait purposes that they're able to do. Now Star's going to get kind of noticed and caught here out of position. We'll have 4 of the enemy team chasing him down, and he's going to get destroyed by Ivan Pavlov, as that is just, there's just no escape from that. And so once again, purple team winning these little bitty skirmishes with blue team making all kinds of crazy mistakes all over the map. And Dragon Slayer sticking around way too long. Now going to get caught by Ivan using his ultimate, but not going to actually land on, well, yes it will. At first it didn't land, but it looks like Torin will pick up the kill. Ashe one more for her, 7-4-7 with that Infinity Edge built up. And now she has the option of going straight for attack speed. So this is going to start to look really scary as the game goes on. Let's see, Vayne though, on the other hand, does have attack speed starting up with her Bloodthirster build. Really the only AD carry in the game right now that benefits more from going for a Bloodthirster than for an Infinity Edge, as you know, she just has so much attack speed and damage and sustain ability with that true damage and all of the other options that she has available to her. Looks like a little bit of ward cling here from Requinus, but now going to be in really bad position. This is going to be a snowball kite. Looks like Seoki is just going to continue to slow him down, and a wall being used, but a flash will save him, luckily, and he's going to have to be careful from now on out until he gets that flash back up. That was kind of a risky play on his part to go up there for that ward all by himself. Once again, just showing that purple team is winning these little small skirmishes because of blue team's risky mistakes that just aren't paying off. And now Ivan Pavlov's going to get chased down here. Kenny doing what he can as Kitty Cat to do some work on him. And I think that he will be okay if he has his ultimate. No, actually, that's just way too much damage, so I was wrong about that. So he will be killed by that ignite there. Boom, going to take him down. Dragon Slayer picking up that kill. And on bottom lane, let's see. Oh my god, that crit coming in. Star's just in big trouble. Will do what he can. Only gets one in auto attack in before that Ashe takes him down. Top lane, though, Hobizzle comes in, dominating now as he kills the Vladimir and takes him down. Bottom lane, Seok picking up Wakeliness with a snowball, and now Ashe actually getting taken down by Faxon. Will he be able to turn this around? Seok has no mana to use a snowball. Will get exhausted so that Seok could try and run away. Faxon going to use what he can. Bear form coming in there. Seok is hoping for his mana to get a snowball off so that he can actually slow down Faxon, but there's a stun coming in, and the spear from Kenny, and there's the kill. Faxon going to grab it finally after a long chase all the way from the bottom lane. Alright, this is getting really amped up as we are coming into the mid game. 27 minutes in here, 15-24 in the favor of purple team, and middle lane finally going down. That's 2 turrets in favor of blue, and they're actually ahead on turrets and than purple team, even though purple is kind of ahead on gold. But they're going to have to make sure they start pushing the lanes down, or blue team could potentially start making a comeback if they begin out pushing them. And now that Nidalee has that death cap, she is getting extremely deadly. Faxon being really crazy here, gonna have to be very careful, but trying to go for the bait as the rest of his team does come in to try and pick things up. A lot of true damage coming in from Vayne, gonna help her finish off that Malphite, no problem. Not rock solid anymore as he has crumbled on the floor, dying, and they have a chance to go for this Baron, and a spear going to help that out. Let's see if they can pick this up before purple team has a time to respond. I think they will be able to grab this and shift the game in their favor. Looks like a turret on bottom will go to purple, but at the cost of losing this Baron. And boom, there it is. They went ahead, picked it up, and now possibly going to actually catch another person. Can they grab Seok here? He is going to flash, but he actually started running backwards the other direction. Ignite going to go down, and boom! There is the damage. Kenny KTH just right now destroying as AP Nidalee. This is exactly what I wanted to see in AP Nidalee doing work. I have not seen this in so long, since the days of Hotshot, when he used to play this stuff. Ultimate being used by Ashe to try and keep Faxon off, but I just don't know if it's going to be enough, as Udyr is one of the fastest champions. Look how fast he is, even with the constant slow kite from this Ashe. It's still not enough to keep him from running after her, and there you go. He is going to go down with the help of Requinus coming in and that snowball. Just no way to get out of that one alive. And that's going to be a dragon fight here. Looks like Pavlov going to get caught in a bad position. Star's going to be on the chase with the ultimate. Is it going to be enough, though? Spear being used. Going to flash right over that. Star's going to flash as well. Trying to go for the kill. All he needs is a couple more attacks. Going to roll in for it, as well as Faxon going to go for the kill kill here onto the Malphite, and a spear going to be used. Unfortunately, the Vayne wasn't able to pick up that kill onto the Wukong, but this is overall looking pretty crazy as everybody is running around randomly, madly all over the map. Will Malphite make an escape here? Looks like there are 2 turrets blocking him off, so he will die to that, but that's going to be Kenny's kill. There's absolutely no way that there was enough time for him to get executed by that tower. Either way, he did stall for a little bit of time. Not really sure what the point of it was, however, because right now blue team is in a pretty good position. Yes, they are still behind on gold, technically. However, I think that if they continue to make the plays that they've been making in the last 5 minutes or so, then they could potentially come back and really win this game. They just need to group up, have that Nidalee spear making work. Faxon able to ninja that dragon out underneath purple team's nose all by himself, so really making big plays here as that Udyr, just showing off how strong Udyr can be once you start playing him correctly. Now actually fully building up a force of nature, going to be very strong against the magic damage that Hobizzle is able to put out and giving him more run speed, so he's going to be able to do some big work on his Ashe. He's got enough armor and magic resist that he's just going to be very difficult to kill at this point. Let's take a look here. What other builds are interesting at this point? A death cap is finally built up on that bird as well. So looks like Anivia should be okay. She's going to be doing some good damage as she lays down her spell. She's got that blue buff ready to go. Baron buff though now still on blue team for a little bit longer. We have at least a quarter of the time left. So here comes that infamous mid lane stall push, and you're going to see Nidalee, if she gets up there, yeah, she does have that blue buff. So her plan is going to be standing right around one of these bushes, most likely right here. She's going to be tossing out spears from behind, landing onto them. So yeah, actually here it is. She's going to stand from right on this side this time. And boom, there's a spear. Boom, first one landing on a creep. So unfortunately not going to be effective. But what they need to do is just hold the creeps in this area right here, and Nidalee is going to win this for them. And eventually she's going to start landing these spears. It's going to chunk them down. They won't be able to stay at this turret without getting dove. There's the first one. It looks like Pavlov taking that hit. They're going to have to stay way on this right side, putting them in a really bad position, as Nidalee is just going to really put so much pressure on them. They're either going to have to back off, and boom, half of the HP of Hobizzle. That's going to put them in a really bad spot. It looks like they're going to go ahead and go for the engage, as they know they cannot stay at the turret without dying here. But this Dragon Slayer kit is getting really low. Will he make it safely? He actually does. And now Wukong trying to do some work, but gets exhausted. Ashe going to go down as well, and Malphite on the run. Hobizzle going to fall into egg form. Will die. Finally shut down by the Vayne, and Faxon cleans up the Malphite. This is a great push. They had to engage that. Unfortunately, they just could not make it happen. And so that's just the strength of AP Nidalee whenever you get into this mid lane situation from behind, and they're going to be able to take down 2 turrets, finish off all but 1 player, and take an inhibitor. That's right there, folks, is a nice little comeback. So I think they've actually got this game in the bag as long as they continue on this path and they don't make any crazy mistakes. Now, on the other hand, they could make a bad play right here if they're not careful. If they actually get aced here, that's going to give purple team the chance to come back. They might just need to go ahead and go with what they've got. Don't get too greedy here. Yes, they might actually lose their Vayne if that arrow, oh deuce, that was just so close. If that would have landed on stars, then that would have definitely been a really bad situation. But they need to back out here as they are so very low. Kenny trying to keep everybody healed up. That is one good thing about AP Nidalee, is that she's got such high heal amount. Dragon Slayer going to go ahead and take it for the team. All he needs is 1 Q onto that Ashe to take her down. Look at all that damage coming in, and just not going to be enough, unfortunately, for him. And so the rest of the team is going to back out of there, try to defend their mid turret as much as possible. Oh, that is just too bad. Outplayed there. Wukong getting destroyed by Kenny KTH. Now going to be turning around, killing Seok as well. Youngstar is going to pick up that kill, and purple team just making bad plays left and right here now. And it's not even going to be a back for blue team. They're just going to go right in for the kill. 1 more auto attack from that Vayne. We'll be able to pick up this Ashe. Boom, there goes 421 damage. Not even a crit, takes her down. And now they just need to push these creeps. Pretty soon these super creeps will be there. There it is. It's already here. It has arrived. And so they could potentially clean this up. Down goes the Anivia. Her egg form was taken down in the previous fight. Oh, that's too bad. Vayne cleaned up by a Malphite now. So it doesn't look like they actually will be able to push down the rest of this turret. And they will just be backing off. But they did grab several kills there. They are now ahead on kills and gold, if you notice. So this is a very epic game for sure. Vayne definitely in hyper carry status at this point, as she does have that Bloodthirster built up with her Phantom Dancer. Now going to be going for, I guess, an Infinity Edge, and that's only going to make her even more deadly. Once she crits, she's going to be critting so hard. And a Shurelya's as well for the Udyr. So Faxon going to be really having all these options to engage, disengage, chase, doesn't matter. Whatever he needs to do, he's got that. Man, Pavlov taking a max range spear to the face, just a little bit less than half his HP from that one. That could have almost taken out Ashe right there, but is going to be possibly enough with the ultimate from Vladimir. One last Q, and that's going to finish her off. No problem. She is done. Malphite doing what he can to help out Ashe, but it doesn't matter now. He's probably going to actually die for that. And here comes the ultimate from Nunu. Gonna get completely destroyed by that spear. If he gets attacked one more time, he'll go down, but he will be making his way out of there. And looks like Vlad is actually destroyed. Hobizzle picking that one, but Kenny KTH takes him down right afterwards. So I think this could be the final push for the win here, as this Vayne is on her way up, and I don't know actually what she's doing. It seems like she's kind of farming in the jungle or pushing the top lane when she could actually be in here finishing the game right now. Now Faxon going to be kind of in a bad spot if he doesn't play too carefully, but he is actually very tanky, so it's going to be very difficult for them to take him out. They're going to have to put a lot of focus on him, and these spears are just, holy crap, that Nunu damage. But yes, that spear almost able to take them out and just kind of holding them down right now, but Faxon going to need to get himself healed up a little bit and take down these turrets. Looks like Wukong is going to be focusing him down pretty soon, so will this be enough? Here comes the Vayne, finally got out of the jungle and decides to help out the team. Might be a little bit too late though, as if she was there earlier, they could have already finished this game, I think. But Seok now going to be jumped onto by Kenny. Kenny needs to step out of that turret range, and Vayne gets destroyed by Malphite, as he is just so deadly to those AD carries. And that's, I don't know, that's pretty good play. They are kind of hanging in there despite being kind of so far behind. Holy crap, look at that damage coming in. Nidalee just doing work with those spears. This tower will finally fall. Looks like the super creep will be able to tank that turret just long enough for them to finish off the final one here. And now all that is remaining is that Nexus to be destroyed. And so right now we just need Vayne to get back up, come back into this fight. They are probably going to go ahead and try and finish this game very soon. As long as they don't make any more mistakes, this is going to be over shortly. Looks like Faxon's just kind of hanging out, doing some slaps here and there where possible. Doesn't want to take any more damage, as he is quite low right now, so he is going to back off, try and go for this turret on the bottom lane. Now Dragon Slayer, not sure what the hell he was thinking, kind of sticking around a little bit too long. Now going to get completely destroyed by purple team. So yes, they do have to keep that in mind, that they are not gods right now. They have the potential of dying here, and there's the arrow coming in. Ashe going to make big plays. Ultimate from Malphite. He is done. And there you are, Tauren Wayfarer picking up another kill. Let's see, what does Ashe have right now? She's actually built herself almost a Last Whisper, so she just needs a little bit more gold, and she'll be able to pick that up, make her even more deadly against those tanky champions on blue side. So right now, I haven't seen much grouping from blue team. They've kind of been playing real chaotic and sporadic. Not the best thing. If you allow purple team too much time to farm back up, they are going to be able to come back and possibly make a win from this game. You haven't taken all of the inhibitors just yet. In fact, all 3 inhibitors are now back up for purple team. So it's going to be up to blue to go ahead and grab this Baron and go for the final push. Looks like Star's getting extremely low, trying to solo that. Not the best choice. Don't know what he was thinking there, actually. Where are we sitting on stacks for your Bloodthirster? He's actually at 17, so a little less than halfway. He's going to have to farm that back up just a little bit. Will be full healing himself onto the Baron here as well. That is the bonus of having a Bloodthirster, especially whenever they're killing those creeps there. Faxon now going to be jumping in, doing so much work, but at the same time taking big damage, as he's the sole focus of the entire team. Now completely shut down from Ashe, and there's the ultimate from Seok. Will this be purple team's turnaround? Did blue team stall a little bit too long before finishing the game? Man, that spear almost able to take out Ashe. All he needs to do is jump in and get out of there to escape. If Kenny goes down, this is going to give purple team the chance to really push down a couple of turrets of their own and make their comeback. Oh, just too slow to really get in there. And that spear, not enough damage to take her out. That is just too unfortunate. Like I said, though, blue team, they have to really band together and go for the final push. They aren't so far ahead that they can just continue to play like this and throw the game. It is very easy to throw the game at this point. All it's going to take is one more fight like that, and purple team can just shove in these lanes. They've got Ashe and Ashe and Nunu with that attack speed buff. She is just going to munch through turrets, no problem. Okay, so we're just going to wait around and see when the next engage is going to happen. They did pretty much destroy everybody's Baron buff except for the Nunu. So everyone died except for Nunu. They aren't going to be able to use that Baron to their advantage other than the gold that they got, which they'll be able to use to buy items. And Zeke's Herald, man, even more attack speed on top of what he's already giving with his buff. Now, he does need to be careful here. He could potentially get caught. They do have vision of that, and there is the arrow. Why did he not know that was there? She definitely did vision of him, so he should have known that and ran away. Now he's going to be really in risk of getting caught here. Going to be losing that Baron buff, completely destroyed, not making anything happen. Youngstar is going to almost get caught himself, having to use his flash. Not what you want to do in this situation. That flash is so critical on an AD carry in teamfight situations because that could spell victory or defeat. As if you're not able to flash away from, say, a Malphite ult or something like that, then you could potentially just die without having any chance of victory. Now, of course, Ashe's flashes down as well, but on the other hand, she's got much less time on her, so all they have to do is stall a little bit, wait for her arrow to come right back up, and they can really make a big difference in this. Now, it's going to be a 4v5 situation, but blue team is feeling really confident right now. They do have that GA for Faxon, so he's going to be strong enough to get in there and really do some work as long as he doesn't get caught in a bad spot again. And if they can start doing these Nidalee spears again, that's really what gave them the advantage in the first place, was them being able to sit behind this turret here, throw out those Nidalee spears, kind of get them a little bit weaker so that they were actually able to go in and engage a non-full health team. So Hobizzle knows he has to back out. All it takes is one spear, and you've already shoved out one person from the fight. And that is so amazing. That just shows the real strength of an AP Nidalee. Yes, it is kind of a difficult build to pull off. You have to land those long-range spears onto the squishy targets, but that's all it really takes. It's similar to landing a nice Morgana Binding or a nice Ashe Arrow. All you have to do is hit the right target and boom, you have just changed the course of the next battle. And Wayfarer already really less than half HP, even though he has that GA, gonna have to back out and heal himself up. Of course, it looks like he may try and stick around for a little bit and rely on some lifesteal rather than actually going to heal at the fountain. So where did a turret just... That looks like turret on bottom just got destroyed by minions as they are pushing on their own. Spear's going to be tossed out blindly, not going to be landing on anything. They will be going for this inhibitor. This is going to be a really risky position for them to be in, and Seahawk taking a huge spear to the face. Will they be able to defend this? It's going to be really hard to say. They are able to take down that inhibitor almost. Faxon actually deciding to back off and go for the team fight. Dragon Slayer in big trouble here. That was a lot of damage coming in from Wukong's engage. Hobizzle taking down the Nunu, no problem. And this is really bad. 2 deaths already for blue team. 3 have fallen. Faxon now going to be running away. Can he make his escape? If he gets attacked or slowed one more time, he's going to be in a bad spot, but he's going to be good for now. Kenny going to be running as well. Doesn't want to lose that Oracles. In fact, just doesn't want to die at all. Period. Overall, really nice engage there from the Wukong. Kind of feel like Faxon should have just stuck around and killed that inhibitor, as that was a really bad push on their part. They lost 3 people, only were able to kill Nunu, the support on purple side, and now they're actually going to start falling behind on this pushing front here. They're going to lose this middle turret. Oh man, that spear almost... Oh, this spear does take him down! Pavlov going to die from the... I don't know if that was a red buff or what, but either way, he got completely destroyed. Now Faxon kind of in a bad spot. I think he'll be fine. He's got his Guardian Angel as well as just so damn tanky, and the hill from Kenny KTH, but holy crap, that spear. That is... that's what I'm telling you, man. Just 1 or 2 spears will completely change a battle. They actually backed off because of that spear. Holy crap, this game is so back and forth. It should have been over so long ago, but blue team made some really bad plays, and now they're paying for it. They're gonna have to push very hard and make some very difficult choices in order to actually win this one. So the Baron could be up very shortly, and there's the ward that Nunu's going to place right on that area, looking for a chance to potentially catch them off guard if they decide to go for that Baron once again. Of course, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for them to go for Baron with that inhibitor not down. It's so easy to grab a Baron if you force the enemy team to defend their base from creeps. So far, from what I can tell, they know this Baron is coming up. He's clearing the ward. Faxon going to go ahead and make it so that purple team has no idea when that's going to occur if they decide to actually go for that. 2 wards being used in the bush, probably not on purpose. Oh, and that spear almost landing onto the Malphite. Probably not going to do tons of damage to him as he's quite tanky. He's got over 200 of each resist, almost 300 armor. And an arrow not going to land. So if that had hit anyone, that could have been a really great engage there for purple team. They do really want to back off right now, though, as without a nice engage like that, it's going to be difficult for them to actually win one of those fights. It's actually been because of these great engages that they've been able to win all of these fights so well. Now Udyr going to be coming up here trying to do what he can to engage. Going to take out these 2 wards in the bush and just strip all vision possible from these guys on purple side, as they now have a chance to go ahead and go for this Baron. And it looks like Nidalee is going to be placing down traps, just going to sit here, poke them down, and wow, almost one. She actually one shot the, oh my god, Anivia gets one shot by a spear from full HP. That is terrible. And here comes the ultimate from Malphite, actually stealing the Baron buff from blue team. What plays this game? What plays? Holy crap, I don't even know what to say. That is amazing. Stealing the Baron buff with an ultimate, flashing over the wall to safety right after Anivia gets one shot by a spear. Oh my god, man. Too much amazing this game. Too much amazing this game. And here we go, a little bit of action happening here as Faxon will be taking out the inhibitor this time. I think he's going to make the decision to actually clean it up now. Looks like Requiem is going to be in a little bit of trouble as he will be focused. Wukong going to come in for the engage, but they don't have Anivia just yet, so that's going to be now a 4v4 situation turning into what looks like a 3v3, and Faxon going to be slowed down and probably taken down, even though he's got that Guardian Angel. Unless the rest of his team decide to turn around and make something happen here, it could really be bad. Wayfarer getting a big heal there, but still looks like he will be in a bad situation. Going to be doing a lot of damage. In the meantime, though, Evan Pavlov taking big damage from that spear. Will he fall? It takes a little bit more damage. Uses his clone to try and escape, and let's see if she can land it here. And not going to happen. But it looks like Vayne will be able to come in here. She's got that speed buff when chasing enemy champions, so that's just enough to catch up to that Wukong. They want to go for the second inhibitor. If they do take that out, that's going to put them in a really good position. Wow, Youngstar's taking big hits from this Hobizzle kid here, and that's pretty much what Anivia does. Kusariu is able to finish her off. Malphite really a big threat right now, as well as he does have a little bit of AP damage, so he's able to land those ults and just kind of wreck everybody. With 278 armor, he's going to get big damage from those ground slams. Look at that, 195 extra damage on a ground slam with a 4-second cooldown. That's enough to really destroy kids. Woo! So much action, man. I'm going to run out of breath soon if they don't finish this off. This is just too much for me to handle right now. And look at this. They are doing as much as they possibly can to defend their last remaining inhibitors. And they just, unfortunately, blue team was unable to get those. They lost a few people, but in their favor, they did grab that. They did grab that mid inhibitor, albeit losing Baron buff. So, you know, usually whenever the enemy team gets a Baron buff, it's them that is pushing, but in this case, it's blue team that's really pushing ahead. And I think this Kinney kid here is just making big plays. If it wasn't for these great, amazing spears completely just decking kids down flat on their faces in one shot, then I don't think they'd be in the position that they are at this point. Alright, so I'm just waiting for that next big Nidalee spear, man. Hobizzle probably just shaking in his boots right now, just thinking to his head, man, if I get hit by one of those spears, that's the most terrifying thing in the world. So much damage comes in from those, just so much damage. He's got himself a Zanya's, so he's going to have to make good use of that. If he sees the spear coming in, that's really all he has as an option. It looks like Pavlov going to be using his ultimate just to try and escape. Flashes over the wall. And even Dragon Slayer coming in from behind. Everybody trying to catch this kid, but it might actually be a bait. Faxon now running in a little bit too far into the bush, and you just should not be doing that. GA still being up on him, though. He has not lost that just yet. Spear going to dodge just a little bit too soon, and Dragon Slayer will fall. Going to have to wait for him to come back up for the next team fight, as without that up, it's going to be very difficult for them to actually fully engage on one of these fights. Looks like it's Nunu versus Nunu up top lane, and Requinet's going to get exhausted. Probably going to die to Seok here, as just so many snowballs make it really difficult, and exhaust being used by him as well. Actually not going to be chasing, as he is running low on mana himself. Doesn't want to get baited. I'm sure Faxon could come in there and easily clean that up if he had decided to continue to chase. I don't know if I just missed that, but it looks... Actually, let me just go back. What just happened there? Yes! A spear! One-shot Hobizzle once again, putting him into egg form. Oh my god. Oh, these spears. I cannot believe the amount of damage coming in from these spears. Just literally one-shotting. I mean, one spell completely killing you from full HP has got to be the most frustrating thing ever. Hobizzle, you better grab some magic resist, bro. Look, he does. He actually has magic resist. Did he have that when he got hit? I don't know. I don't know if he had that when he got hit, but either way, that magic resist, he's just going to have to get enough to be able to stop himself from getting one shot. That's a huge, huge problem on his part. Kenny KTH just really, really playing some AP Nidalee like a boss, and showing that it is something to be feared. If you get enough AP built up, there's so much. Oh my god, look at that. He's actually got a second Archangel staff that he's picked up. How much damage is that? He is now sitting at 807 ability power, and his spears will be doing, let's see. I can't see it whenever he's in that form. There it is, Javelin Toss. 230, 530, and then it scales. I don't know. I can't tell you how much damage. Well, I can tell you how much damage he's doing. Let's see. He's doing over 1,600 damage because he destroys Nidalee in one shot. So each spear at max range is going to do over 1,600 damage, and that was before that Archangel staff. So now he's going to be doing what? I don't know, 1,800, 2K damage. Who knows? That's so much damage. I can't even calculate it. I'm no math wizard, but you'll be able to see when he one-shots someone again. All right, let's see those spears coming in. Boom. Of course, he's going to one-shot a creep, no problem. There is nothing to be feared from this team right now, as they are so strong as long as they don't get their Vayne engaged on by that Malphite. Of course, Malphite is a very scary champion right now. He does have that Banshee's Veil. I'm not going to help him out if he's just going to get hit by spears. But there we go. This spear is going to be able to jump all the way to the inhibitor, basically. Just going to be sitting around in the back there, trying to land that off on the one target. All it's going to take... Oh my god, even Malphite, one of the tankiest champions on their team, takes a huge hit from that spear. Obviously not going to be enough to one-shot him, but that's a quarter of his HP with one spear, and that is a tank. A quarter of an HP as a tank is a lot. Oh my god, look at that damage coming in. That's over half his HP with two spears as Malphite. I think anyone on this team is susceptible to getting almost one shot right now at this point by this Nidalee. That is terrifying. That is just so terrifying. Oh man, I just can't wait to see it. This is the most exciting thing in the world. Oh, there it is, half his HP. This Nunu, man, these guys are just getting demolished. What are they gonna do? They need to get a ward on the other side of the bush here, and they need to watch for those Nidalee spears. Otherwise, they're just gonna get completely wrecked by this. Looks like Malphite is pissed. He's using his Shurelya's. He wanted to go in for an engage. They're not going to let it happen. They're just going to play this one safe and smart. They're going to sit there with their front line, holding it up, and they're going to say, hey guys, I'm going to throw spears at you from behind, and we're not going to engage unless you force it. And then at that point, we're going to have everyone in perfect positioning. Vayne's going to be in the back. She's going to be shooting the front line, and then they're just going to get destroyed by spears, as Kenny KTH is going to be tossing those out from way far behind, and Udyr's going to be up front, putting a lot of pressure onto the Ashe the whole time. Faxon now taking a lot of damage, though, as Ashe does have that armor pin ready to go. Is this the engage that purple team needs? They need to continue this on and make something happen. A big spear hits Pavlov, getting him really low. This gauge works really well, but it looks like Kenny KTH is able to one-shot Hobizzle again. And double kill as he does take out the Wukong as well. And triple kill, taking down Malphite. Could we see a quadra? There's the quadra kill. Are we gonna see a penta? He needs one more spear, and this could be the penta kill here as Kenny is gonna go for it, and he just needs to pounce right on top of her face. And there it is, the ace and the penta kill from Kenny KTH onto that Nidalee, and this could be the game. Doesn't look like they have any chance. There's the surrender, and that is GG, guys, for one of the most exciting games I've ever seen in a very, very long time. Thank you for watching, and as always, make sure you check me out on my stream, twitch.tv/KolbyCheese. Please hit this a like button if you're watching this on YouTube. I'll see you guys around for the next one. Peace out.